Asifo Getachew to come to the podium and present. Is he? There he is. Dr. Getachew will be presenting on reactive case detection for malaria in Amhara National Regional State, Ethiopia, descriptive and impact evaluation analysis.
Thank you.
So use the green to push forward on the slide, and the star is for the pointer, and then just keep an eye on the time. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Asifo. I work for MASEPA at PAS, and the topic I'm presenting is as indicated in the first slide. Ethiopia is among the countries who are aiming to eliminate malaria by 2030. And in line with this, the case investigation issues and FOSA investigation issues are among the very important strategic activities planned. And in line with this, MASEPA PAS is supporting the government of Ethiopia, particularly the public health sector, by demonstrating how such case investigation could be managed at a lower scale. So what we are trying to demonstrate is the reactive case detection in 19 districts in a setting which is with very low intensity of transmission. A case investigation and reactive case detection follows a strategic approach, which is the focal test and treat approach. So anyone coming to the health post and passively detected as P. falciparum or mixed infection is considered as index case if that case satisfies a certain criteria set. And once we identify an index case, the surveillance agents have to follow the house of the index case, as you can see in the middle. So the red hat is representing the index case house, and a software called Smart Surveillance is assisting the delineation of the area of interest for investigation, which is 100 meters radius from the index case. So up to 10, on the average, up to 10 houses are investigated around an index case, and positives are treated accordingly. Investigation status and case travel history by village is depicted in this picture. The gray bars represent investigated cases with no travel history. The red ones are with travel history, and blue indicate cases which were missed, not investigated. In some cases, due to some operational constraints, some cases were not investigated. The operational characteristics of the reactive case detection is we followed 137 index cases during the study period, leading to 707 households visited, and out of which 15% were index case households, 81% the majority neighboring households, and 4% are not investigated for various reasons. On the average, we had 4.5 households visited per index case. The range is 1 to 13. The results, 137 index cases were investigated, out of which 80% were properly investigated, and the rest 20 were not were detected but not investigated. Out of the households visited, we had about 2,700 tested, out of which 55 were secondary cases were detected, with an overall prevalence of 2%. And if we disaggregate this by index case and neighboring houses, it's around 5% versus 1.5%, which indicates significant clustering of cases within the index house. Regarding age and sex distribution, as you can see, if we disaggregate this by index case and secondary cases, majority of the cases are adults. While if we look at the gender, most of the cases within index houses, cases and secondary cases are males. With regard to travel history, about 21% of those index cases had travel history versus 9% in the secondary cases. So high proportion of travelers are detected within the index cases. Then we tried to answer this question: does reactive case detection reduce transmission? And we did a difference in a difference analysis. The design was quasi-experimental design, used to a comparison group with similar characteristics matched, and assessed both changes between groups, intervention versus comparison, and across time, that is temporally, pre and post intervention. A negative binomial regression adjusting for rainfall, vegetation, and altitude was used, and the outcome variable was weekly malaria counts of P. falciparum and mixed cases at health post level, which is the primary contact for patients. Two groups were observed. The first group, where the reactive case detection was started in October 2014, the other in October 2015. Villages where intervention started in October 2014, as you can see, the left side is pre-intervention, the right side is post-intervention. Generally, there is a drop in both groups. But the difference is there is a much reduction in terms of, with regard to the intervention villages. Similarly, in the in the 2015 intervention, we have similar situation. The intervention villages start with relatively higher level of number of cases, but at the end of the day, when we measure, there is about 60% more reduction in the intervention villages versus the previous year, which was 35% more reduction in the intervention villages. So this was, the regression result tells that, as maybe I have missed that in the previous slide, but a 60% more reduction is observed according to the interaction of the model. Summary and conclusions. During the period 2015 to 17, 137 cases were passively identified and documented in health facilities, out of which 79 were investigated and reactive case detection was documented. A few villages had problems in implementing this intervention due to operational obstacles, constraints. Case investigation with reactive case detection is operationally feasible. However, it's labor intensive, and SOPs, logistics, and human resource need a revision based on the evidences generated from this exercise. Approximately 20% of index cases had travel history, and this could be a threat for what Ethiopia is planning in the elimination agenda, because those travelers will bridge infections back to the highland fringe areas where the elimination activity is exercised. Case investigation as implemented seems to have had a significant impact on incidence, showing 40 to 60 greater decrease in case incidence compared to the comparison group. However, residual confounding may be present, and in our future analysis, we have to look at those confounding, residual confounding factors. Impact evaluation analysis will be redone, including the ongoing transmission season, additional potential confounders, such as interventions related to LLIN distribution, IRS coverage, and maybe performance of human resource and so on. And this presentation is on behalf of all those members of the team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we can take some questions. Please come to the microphones. But I'll start, and I'm going to ask you sort of an unfair question, but your presentation and several of the others showed declines in the control groups, maybe not as much in your case as in the intervention groups, but I'm wondering how connected are these communities? Why do you think very connected? So you think that the impact of the intervention villages was also having an effect on the comparison villages?
Maybe we have to investigate this. There is a possible contamination because this is not a randomized controlled trial. I could have shown the location of the intervention and control groups or comparison groups, but because of time limitations, I couldn't. Anyway, there could be a potential contamination between those villages. But according to the regression analysis done, there is a significant drop. Although both have a drop, a general drop, there is a significant drop in the intervention villages.
Well, you could see it as contamination, or you could see it as a benefit.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I just want you to comment. From your study you treated the households where there was a case. But what would you comment about, instead of testing, given the limitations with RDTs, you just treat everybody? Because I'm sure the RDTs could have missed a few asymptomatic individuals, and knowing that Ethiopia, you also have Vivax and Falciparum. So maybe just to comment on treating versus testing and treating.
Yeah, in every house investigated, we have to test everyone except under 6 months. Infants below 6 months are not eligible. Otherwise, we screen everybody and then treat positives, either Falciparum or Vivax or mixed. You are right. We might miss, because of the limitations, the sensitivity of the RDT, we might miss certain individuals, but this is a continuous process, so we will have a chance to again find those positives.
Okay.
Great. We have time for one question.
Hi, thank you very much for this talk. My name is Chris Cotter with the University of California, San Francisco. And it's nice to see this type of strategy being applied to in the Ethiopian setting. I was curious about your coverage levels of screening. You had noted that 80%, you were able to follow up 80% of the households or of the index cases with case investigation and reactive case detection. But then once they got to those areas and were doing the screening, what was your coverage like? Because then if you're not getting, 100%, then you've got another further, there's a cascade of reduction there as well. So just curious if you could speak to coverage levels during screening.
The coverage, except for few household members, the coverage is nearly perfect. But some people, due to travel or some other reasons, we might not have a complete coverage of every household. In general, we have near perfect coverage of each household investigated.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asif.